ሰላም ውድ የዩቲዩብ ቻናል ተከታዮች በሙሉ በድጋሚ ተገናኝተናል። lecture-3 magnitude or length of norm of vectors see as the unit vectors and that of unit vectors in the direction in the same directions or in opposite directions የሚለው በተለያዩ ኤግዛምፕሎች አብረን የምናይ ይሆናል። ያው ቤተሰብ በተለመደ ቤተሰብ ያልሆናችሁ ሰብስክራይብ በማድረግ ቤተሰብ ይሁኑ። ቤተሰብ ይሆናችሁ ደግሞ ላይክ ኮሜንት ሼር በማድረግ ይከታተሉን ያለን magnitude of a vector ከሚለው እንጀምራለን። Now what is the magnitude? Another name of magnitude is called which is length or that of norm ይባላል። Now the magnitude or length or norm of a vector u is equals to u1 u2 blah blah un is denoted by like this and given by like this norm of u norm or length or magnitude of u is equals to square root of u1 square plus u2 square plus un square ብለን define እናደርጋለን ማለት ነው። የማት ማግኒቲዩድ ወይ ሌንግዝ ወይ ኖርም የምንለው ማለት ነው። ከሶስቶቹ አንዱ መጠቀም እንችላለን። እስኪ በኤግዛምፕል እንየው። የመጀመሪያው ኤግዛምፕል እንደምን find the norm of a vector u is equals to 3 minus 5 2 ነው የሚለን። Now using the definitions of the norm or length or magnitude of a vector we can obtain the norm of the given vector u. Now as a solutions using the definitions norm of u is equals to 3 square, this 3 is the first component, 3 square plus minus 5 square plus 2 square እንላለን። now ይሄን ስንሰራው 3 square ማለት 9 ነው minus 5 square 25 ነው 2 square 4 ነው ስለዚህ 9 plus 25 plus 4 ስንሰራው square root of 38 ይሆናል። therefore norm of u is equals to 38. ሁለተኛው ኤግዛምፕል suppose norm of u is equals to 8. Norm of u 8 now then find a such that the vector u is given here minus 3a2 minus 4. Now here the magnitude of the vector u is given and itself the vector u is also given but there is variable which is a, so we need to find the values of a. አሁን ኤን ለማየት እዚህ ጋር ኖርም ኦፍ ዩ 8 ስለሆነ ስለዚህ ዩ ስለሰጠን ኖርም ኦፍ የዚህ ኖርም እንፈልጋለን። ከዛ ከኤት ጋር ኢኩዌት ስናደርገው በቀላሉ ኤን ማግኘት እንችላለን። now using the definitions of the norm we have that norm of u is equals to minus 3 square plus a square plus 2 square plus minus 4 square is equals to 8. እዚህ ጋር 8 ስለሰጠችን ማለት ነው። ይህ ማለት ነው ማለት ነው in both sides square ስናደርገው minus 3 square plus a square plus 2 square plus minus 4 square is equals to 64 ይሆናል። next ማለት ነው 9 plus a square plus 4 plus 16 is equals to 64 ይሆናል። now ይሄንን ያርንጅ አግተን simplify ስናደርገው a square plus 29 is equals to 64 ይሆናል። now ይሄንን ወደ 29 ስናሻግረው minus 29 ስለሚሆን 64 minus 29 35 therefore a square is equals to 35 አግኝተናል። a square 35 ነው ማለት a is equals to plus or minus square root of 35. therefore the values of a is plus or minus square root of 35 አግኝተናል ማለት ነው። the theorem is which is a properties for the magnitude or norm or the length for the vectors. Let's the vectors u and the v be two vectors in array in the case scalar. Then the following are holds norm of u is always greater than or equal to 0 ይሆናል። norm of u እና norm of minus u እኩል ናቸው። k times u norm of k times u ማለት k times norm of u ጋር እኩል ነው። norm of u plus minus v the whole square እኩል ይሆናል norm of u square plus norm of v square plus minus 2 times norm of u times norm of v ይሆናል። ያው ፕላስ ሲሆን norm of ማለት በፕላስ ስንወስደው norm of u plus v the whole square is equals norm of u plus norm of v plus 2 times norm of u times norm of v ነው። ማይነስን ከወሰድን that means norm of u minus v whole square ከሆነ is equals to norm of u square plus norm of v square minus 2 times norm of u times norm of v ይሆናል ማለት ነው። ያው ፕሩፉን ከመጽሐፍ ላይ ሳለ ከዛ ላይ ማየት ትችላላችሁ። Another definitions, the distance between 2 points p with the component x1, x2, blah blah xn and the point q y1, y2, blah blah yn is given by like this. The distance p to q or directed vectors p to q now the magnitude of this p to q, the distance between p to q, or the magnitude of the directed vectors p to q and magnitude of p to q ማለት እኩል ነው ማለት ባለፈው ካየነው directed vectors of p to q ማለት q minus p ነው። therefore q minus p ካወቅን በኋላ q minus p እንሰራዋለን። ከዛ የዛ ኖርም መፈለግና the distance between p to q ማለት እኩል ነው። therefore the distance between directed vectors p to q is equal with square root of y1 minus x1 square plus y2 minus x2 whole square plus yn minus xn whole square እናገኛለን። For example, let's the point p with the component minus 2, minus 7, 4 and the q minus 1, 3, minus 5. Then find the distance between p and the q Now using distance between p to q ለመፈለግ እንላኳቸው ሁለት መንገድ መጀመሪያ directed vectors p to q እንፈልጋለን that means q minus p ከሰራን በኋላ የዛን ኖርም መፈለግ ማለት ነው ማለት ነገር የለም therefore the distance between p to q is equal with square root of minus 1 minus 2 whole square plus 3 minus 7 whole square plus minus 5 minus 4 whole square ይሆናል now ይሄ ማለት minus 1 minus 2 ማለት minus 1 plus 2 ማለት ነው minus 1 plus 2 ማለት ደግሞ 1 square 1 ይሆናል እዚህ ጋር 3 minus 7 ነው 3 minus 7 3 plus 7 ነው 3 plus 7 10 ነው 10 square 100 minus 5 minus 4 minus 9 ነው minus 9 square 31 ነው ከዛ ነው እንደምራቸው square root of 182 እናገኛለን another definition a vector whose magnitude is 1 is called a unit vector ይባላል ማለት vector u unit vector እንላለን ምን ከሆነ ኖርሙ አንድ ከሆነ it means vector u is a unit vector if and only if norm of u is equals to 1 and otherwise if the norm of u is 1 then the vector u is a unit vector or if the magnitude of the vector u is 1 then the vector u is a unit vector ማለት ነው example number 4 the vectors 0 minus 1 0 0 1 0 the vectors 1 over 4 1 over 4 1 over 4 1 over 4 are some example of a unit vectors እነኚህ እንዳሉ የተወሰኑ unit vector ናቸው ለምን unit vector ሆኑ እነኚህ ኖርም ስንፈልጋቸው ኖርማቸው አንድ ስለሚመጣ notes the process of multiplying a vector u by the reciprocal of its magnitude that means to get a unit vector with the same direction is called normalizing of vector u Now, what is normalizing of vectors or what is the unit vector? That means when we normalize, or that means when we make the vectors into unit vectors. That means 1 over norm of u times vector u is called a unit vector in the directions of u. ወይም ደግሞ ይሄ ማለት የሆነ ስንወስደው vectors u over norm of u unit vectors in the directions of u ማለት ነው Other definitions for vectors u 1 vector v is equals to u over norm of u ወይም ደግሞ ማለት 1 over norm of u times vector u is a unit vector in the same directions of vector u ማለት ነው and the vectors v is minus of vector u over norm of vector u is a unit vector in the opposite directions as u እንላለን Now, እዚህ ጋር ዲፈረንሳቸው የሳይን ዲፈረንስ ነው ፖዚቲቭ ከሆነ that means the vectors u over norm of u unit vectors in the same direction ማለት ነው minus ከሆነ that means minus of vectors u over norm of u ከሆነ ደግሞ unit vectors in the opposite directions of these vectors u ይሆናል remark. The vectors u, which is written in the form of, or in R3 like all the vectors u, which is with the component u1, u2, u3 ማለት እና u1, 0, 0 plus 0 u2 0 plus 0 0 u3 እኩል ናቸው። እነኚህን ይሄ ማለት ደግሞ ይሄንን ሲምፕሊፋይ ስናደርግ ወይም ደግሞ u1 የጋራ ስናወጣ ማን ይቀረናል? ከዚህ ጋር u1 into 1 0 0 plus ከዚህ u2 ስናወጣ u2 into 0 1 0 ይሆናል plus ከዚህ u3 ስናወጣ u3 into 0 0 1 ይሆናል። again ይህንን 1 0 0 i ብንለው 0 1 0 j ብንለው 0 0 1 k ብንለው then ይሄ ቬክተርስ u1 u2 u3 እኩል ይሆናል u1 i plus u2 j plus u3 k ማለት ነው። Here the vectors I is equals to 1 0 0, j is equals to 0 1 0 and k is equals to 0 0 1 is called standard or basis of unit vector ይባላል። For example, let the vectors u is given minus 3i plus j minus k and the vector v is minus 2j plus 4k. Then find a unit vectors in the same directions of the vectors u plus v ነው የሚለን። Now unit vectors in the same directions of vectors u plus v ነው የምንፈልገው ነው። ይሄንን ለመፈለግ ይሄን ፎርም መጠቀም ብቻ ነው። እዚህ ጋር in the same directions of unit vectors in the same directions of u plus v ስለሚለን መጀመሪያ u plus v እንፈልጋለን። ከዛ u plus v over norm of u plus v is the unit vectors in the same directions of u plus v ይሆናል። So that's solutions. Now using the definitions of a unit vectors in the same directions of the vectors, here we have that the unit vectors in the same directions of u plus v is the same as the vectors u plus v over norm of u plus v ይሆናል። Now u plus v ስንፈልገው minus 3i minus j plus 3k ነው over የዚህ ኖርም እንፈልጋለን ማለት የnorm of u plus v that means minus square root of minus 3 square plus minus 1 square plus 3 square. This is the same as here ይሄንን ስትፈልጉት radical term ማለት 3 square 9 ነው minus 1 square 1 then 3 square 9 therefore 9 plus 1 plus 9 still square root of 1 therefore when there is not a 1 over square root of 19 into minus 3i minus j plus 3 እናገኛለን። ወይንም ወደስ መጨመር ትችላላችሁ ማለት minus 3 over square root of 19i minus 1 over square root of 19 plus 3 over square root of 19k ማለት ነው። Example 6. If vector u and v are perpendicular unit vectors, then find the norm of 1 over 3 vectors u minus 2 times vector v. Now, ይህንን ለመፈለግ ምን እንደሚለን መጀመሪያ ጥያቄውን አንደርስታንድ ማድረግ ይኖርብናል። vector u እና v አለ። vector u እና v perpendicular ናቸው. And also those vector u and v are a unit vectors. Means that the vectors u and v are perpendicular ናቸው ማለት ዶት ፕሮዳክታቸው 0 ማለት ነው። ዩኒት ቬክተር ናቸው ማለት ኖርማቸው 1 ነው። that means norm of u 1 ነው norm of v 1 ነው። ፐርፔንዲኩላር ሲሆኑ u ዶት v ያቸው 0 ነው። ከዛ ይሄንን ሶልቭ እናደርጋለን ማለት ነው። now as solutions since vectors u and v are orthogonal unit vectors implies that norm of u is equal to v not. Norm of u is equal to norm of v is equal to 1 ናቸው። norm of u እና norm of v this is why norm of u and the norm of v is 1 1 because they are unit vectors and since they are also orthogonal that means u dot v ያቸው 0 then norm of 1 over 3 vector u minus 2 times vector v ማለት square root of 1 over 3 vector u minus 2 times v dot 1 over 3 vectors u minus 2 times v ማለት ነው። ለምን ይሄ እንደዚህ ሆነ? because norm of u ማለት square root of u dot u ስለሆነ ወይ square root of u square ስለሆነ that means square root of u dot u ነው። ያንን definitions በመጠቀም ይሄ square root of ይሄንን ስናቃልለው ምን እናገኛለን ማለት ነው? 1 over square root of 1 over 9 times u dot u plus 4 times v dot v minus 2 times እነኝን ስንሰራቸው ማለት ነው that means 2 that means 4/3 times u dot v ማለት ነው but u dot v 0 ስለሆነ እሱን ኢግኖር እናደርግና square root of 1/9 u dot u plus 4 times v dot v ይሆናል u dot u ማለት norm of u square ማለት ነው v dot v ማለት ደግሞ norm of v square ማለት ነው therefore u dot u norm of u ማለት ከላይ 1 ነው norm of v ማለት ደግሞ 1 ስለሆነ 1/9 times 1 plus 4 times 1 ነው therefore 1/9 plus 4 ማለት ደግሞ 37/9 therefore so መልሳችን ማለት square root of 37/9 እናገኛለን example 7 let the vector series given here minus 5i plus square root of 3j minus 2k then find a the unit vectors in the same directions of vector u b the unit vectors in the opposite directions of u now using the definitions of a unit vector in the same directions of vector u which is 1/norm of vector 3 times u or vector u over norm of u በሚለው መሰረት እናገኛለን ማለት ነው here መጀመሪያ norm of u መፈለግ ስላለብን norm of u አችን by definitions of norm square root of -5 square plus square root of 3 whole square plus -2 square ይሆናል ይህንን simplify ስናደርገው 25 square root of 25 plus 3 plus 4 ይሆናል ይህን ስደምሩት square root of 32 ይሆናል square 32 ማለት ደግሞ 16 ሲባዛ 2 ማለት ነው ስለዚህ square root of 16 4 እንወጣና 2 እዛው ትቀራለች 4 times square root of 2 እናገኛለን ይሄ ማለት ነው norm of u ነው now n እንስራስቲ unit vectors in the same directions of u now the same unit vector in the same directions of u ማለት ነው that is we denote this as vector v ብንለው ይሄ የዚህ solutions vector v ይሆናል 1/norm of u times vector u ማለት ነው ያው እንግዲህ norm of u አችን 4 times square root of ስለሆነ 4 times square root of times vector u but our u is here -5i plus square root of 3j minus 2k ስለሆነ ስንጠቀዋለን ስለዚህ መልሳችን ይሄ ይሆናል the third one is unit vectors in the opposite directions እሱንም በፎርሙላ መሰረት let's say this as vector v ምንለው -1/norm of u times vector but here norm of u is 4 times square root of 2 and the u is -5i plus square root of 3j minus 2k እዛ መተካት ብቻ ነው -1/4 times square root of 2 times the vectors -5i plus square root of 3j minus 2k remark all unit vectors in R to R of the form cos theta sin theta where theta is between 0 and 2 pi ነው ማለት ይሄ ለምን እንደዛ ሆነ because unit vector ማለት ነው በናልባት ተቀደም unit vector ማለት vectors whose magnitude is 1 magnitude 1 ቢሆን ማለት therefore this is cos theta sin theta of vectors and what is the magnitude of this magnitude of cos theta sin theta ማለት square root of cos square theta plus sin square theta ማለት ነው ይሄ ማለት ደግሞ 1 ነው square root of 1 ነው therefore የነኚህ ማግኒቲዩዳቸው 1 ስለሆነ unit vectors in R2 ናቸው ማለት ቬክተራቸው in the form of cos theta sin theta ፎርም ናቸው ማለት ነው ውድ የዩቲዩብ ቻናል ቤተሰቦች ስለተከታተላችሁ በጣም አመሰግናለሁ ቀጣይ ፓርቱም እንደዚሁ የሚቀጥል ይሆናል እንግዲህ ላይክ ሼር ኮሜንት ማድረጉን እንዳትዘነጉ